Yes, we are live now. So I welcome everyone to this much awaited panel discussion. This is going to be a super insightful, super power packed session when I have Bhavay and Jerry with me today. So, a short introduction about both of them. Bhavay is working as an assistant digital marketing manager at PUMA Group, and he has been experienced in the field of digital marketing. Is working at various ad campaigns for PUMA Group, various amazing ad campaigns, and today we'll try to infer that what is the mindset to come up with such strategies, and what is the after, I mean, how do you analyze the marketing communication strategies? So welcome to the panel, Bhavay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Rahul.
It's my pleasure. And second, we have with us Mr. Jerry Jose, who is a person branding consultant and is also working as a senior digital marketing associate at ZS. So he's basically concerned with B2B marketing communication, and he's going to give some valuable insights on how B2B marketing campaigns are structured, are they planned, and how the results are measured. So welcome to the panel, Jerry. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Rahul, and yeah, it's a pleasure being here.
Yes. So without any further ado, let's jump to the first question, the most important question. And I believe that a lot of people have misconceptions about this particular thing, that what actually marketing communication is. So Bhave, first asking you that what according to you is marketing communication, and what is that one thing which makes it super, super important for every brand?
So, marketing communication primarily. So it depends what brand are you working in, but in general, it's basically it's a mix of what you want to communicate, right?
Right,
For example, just being who you are. If just figuring out if the brand was a person, who would it be? So
right,
trying to personify the brand and seeing what qualities they have,
right,
what negatives the brand has. And the negatives are extremely important because those are the things you need not hide, definitely, but you need not amplify as well. So
right,
primarily who you are, what you want to communicate to your customers about who you are. These are two different things actually. So
right.
basically, for example, I'll take an example of Pepsi. So Pepsi is a brand so I worked on their account for about 1.5 year at Group M. So
Mhm.
Pepsi is all about swag, right? They'll
Right.
pick ambassadors who are about swag. So the briefs we got for every campaign revolved around this word swag. So they had figured
Mm.
out their personality 100% around this one particular word. So
Right.
that's how, for example, if I were to choose a set of influencers, it might include someone like Salman Khan, someone who is the brand ambassador, someone
Right.
like they gave us once an example of Narendra Modi because he has that swag. So
Right.
obviously he's not going to be picked up, but that was one example they gave us. So
Mm.
Mr. Modi or Salman Khan or
Even
someone like
Ranbir
a
Kapoor was brand.
Ranbir was with Lay's for PepsiCo, but
Right.
someone like a Kusha Kapila who has that swag when
Mm.
she makes her
Swag.
video. So
Yes.
that's basically trying to condense what your brand is in one or two or three words. Basically, for example, Puma is
Right.
forever faster. So that's
Yes.
two words, and it explains the working inside the company and the brand both. So all of it, boiling condensing it to a smaller statement. That's what marketing communication is about, and it looks easier, but there is a lot of research, brand lift studies, and all of that goes behind it.
Right.
But yeah, pretty much that's it.
Those are some great insights. And what we could infer is basically you're saying that, we need to imagine a brand as a person. How would he behave
Yeah.
in certain situations? How would he dress up? So, all of these, generally agree with all of these. And that's a very unique perspective that you have given here in terms of marketing communications. And also, coming up with those two words is the most difficult task ever. I mean, those
Yeah.
two words
Yeah.
that define your brand is generally the biggest task that a brand can ever have, that the marketing manager can ever have. So agree
Hmm.
on that. And Jerry, I would like to know your perspective on this question. And does it change for B2B and B2C? Like, is there any difference you see in terms of that?
So overall structure, however, remains the same. But
Right.
what I personally feel is, let's say, for example, you are in a B2B space. At the end of the
Right.
day, you are reaching out to someone, a person over there. So
Right.
if you're doing
Right.
a B2C campaign as well, you are reaching out to an individual. In B2B
Agree.
also, you are reaching out to an individual. But
Yes.
over here, when you're creating a persona, it would be like, okay, how would a director of HR behave? Or let's say
Mhm.
director of marketing behave, or a director of
Right.
sales behave, rather than getting into rather than getting too deep into their personality basis or something. You take a group of that persona and how would they actually behave in a day-to-day working environment, and
Right.
how that communication platform can actually in send the message of the company's core values to them. Like for example,
Mhm.
ZS has like treat people right, make sure that everything is done in a right way. How do you
Right.
actually communicate that kind of message to your customers and also internal people? So marketing communications is not only about getting in customers or looking at it from an outward point of view. It's also
Right.
from an inward point of view, wherein you are communicating certain messages internally as well, wherein you if you launch some new products, or
Mhm.
if you're doing some research work or testing, you obviously involve your employees, and that's when
Agree.
you send out certain communications ki, hey, we are coming out with a new product. uh, since you've developed this product, please help me out with what are the best points or what are the
Right.
USPs of this. And you send that to a different group and say, hey, why don't you research this product, try it out, test it out, and give me your views. Because if you're
Mhm.
working in any organization, that would be the best test market for you. So
Agree.
that also is a part of communications, but brand communication involves a lot of piece. In B2B, I think it also involves a PR aspect as well, wherein
Right.
personally, I've not worked in the PR space, but I have a few colleagues who are directly in touch with PR, and uh, if PR goes well, it's a nightmare for them. If PR goes bad, it's a nightmare for them. So it's
Right.
not an easy job, just to make sure that everything goes out in balance and people are responding to it. It's not like just a dead news that happens. So
Right.
there are a lot of thought processes, planning, strategy involved before even a single mailer is sent out. So
Right.
that so from a B2B perspective, what I would say is it's more focused on let's say the job title or the profession or the
Hmm.
industry that you're working in, and
Right.
it's much more niche. But when it comes to B2C, as I said, that it's like if you have a keyword or that one word swag, that
Right.
can cater to a lot of people. But if you're working in that niche, you would have to be more precise. You need to work on
Hmm.
more words, or you need to come out with more keywords or the title words that can actually help you reach out to only those specific people who would actually be interested in your product or your service.
Right, right, absolutely. You gave a unique perspective in the form of saying that you are saying that internal communication is, I mean, you need to first internally communicate, then only you'll be able to send out the right communication externally. So if the employees don't know the exact motive, the exact vision, the exact perspective of that product or service, how will they communicate it to the B2B audience? So that is one thing.
Exactly.
And second, you are saying it needs to be much more precise because this involves high level white collar people who are CMOs, CFOs, and you need to approach them. So it needs to be precise, it needs to have a lot of revisions, lot of strategies before actually approach that person. And even in B2B, like it's, I would say it's more costly, if you agree, to do the marketing, as in generally also like B2C has Google ads, but B2B, if you want to run targeted campaigns, it's LinkedIn ads, which are much more costlier because
Yeah, so if you come into that social media space or advertising space,
right.
it is far expensive. So let's say, for example, if I take a simple example, there's a campaign that I ran where the cost per impressions were around $150, $120. Wherein if it's
My
a B2C campaign where I have a wider audience, it will come to just
right.
$10 to $14. So
Agreed.
that's the gap that you actually face between B2B and B2C. But however, when you
Right.
look at the ROI aspect, you
Hmm.
have a multi-million dollar deals in B2B. But
Agreed.
with a
Yes.
B2C product, it's either a $10 product or a $15 product or a $20 product. So
Right.
margin plays an important role. So I mean, that's again, uh, I mean, moving away from marketing, that's more into a strategy conversation. But yeah, evaluating the right channels for you, and
Mm,
what is the best cost return that you can get.
mm.
That's very important to evaluate in B2B space, and all B2B managers would be scrutinized for that as well. That's, I mean, if you're not getting results, and if you're spending so much, uh, then it's a problem area.
Right, right, absolutely. That was a great answer. And now, Bhave, I would like to know from you that since you're working for such a big brand like Puma, so I'm sure that a lot of people would be intrigued that what does a digital marketing manager do on a daily basis? What are his roles and responsibilities? So if you could give some insights there, what does your day look like? What are the major roles and responsibilities if someone is planning to come into this field? So would be super insightful for that person.
So primarily, my primary role here is to so I'm leading the social media for Puma. So basically, everything that goes out
Right,
from all the handles goes through me. So there, it's basically understanding what. So it's on a if you're working in an agency. So I'll just tell you the difference. What the difference is if you're working in an agency and if you're working on the brand side. In terms of a
right,
product led brand, because I haven't worked in a B2B kind of a brand yet.
right,
So in a product led brand, it's more about results. When you're posting even a single piece of content out there across social, or even doing any kind of activations or any kind of content partnerships. For example, I do a content partnership with a YouTube channel. What is
right.
the traffic it's getting to my website? What is the conversion it's driving? So at
Mm,
the end of the day, everything is business. So on the brand side, you are much more business oriented in addition to being creative. So
right,
so for example, if you'll also see uh, on Puma handle, all of the products are all of the posts have products tagged. So it's a social is also a very important channel for us. And in general also, and when I was working in an agency where I was
right,
working with clients like Pepsi, Volvo, and all of that, there
right.
when you're in an agency, you are more inclined to the creative side.
Mm,
Your KPIs are primarily getting more amount of reach, more amount of engagement, all of those metrics. But
right.
uh, because you don't have the visibility, how much of it is selling in terms of
Okay.
product. You
Right,
just have the visibility of how many people you are reaching, what is the so impact on social that you're making. For example, I did that Swag's a solo campaign on TikTok, which went on to be the biggest campaign on TikTok in India. But
right.
so that's in terms of engagement. I still don't know how much product I sold for PepsiCo.
Mm,
So
mm,
that is something that the brand managers or the people on the brand side at that time would have known a lot. But so on the
right.
agency side, it's just that. And on the brand side, when you come, so so I have to liaise with a lot of different teams to figure out that what is coming up. So you have to always be on your toes. What's coming up next? What are the new
Mm,
collections? What's happening around us? There are 10 different teams. If your brand sponsors teams, so there are 10 different teams. If your brand is a sports one, if you are a Pepsi, you sponsor a lot of influencers. So what they are doing, tracking their activity, a ton
right,
of social listening is involved that the competitors doing. And for example, this happened, the COVID crisis happened, and most of the competitors stopped posting at all. But we
right,
were of the opinion that people do understand that we have to sell our product and we have to do business. We can't do big
right,
ticket campaigns, we can't do any launches or anything which no brand is doing right now, right? And
right, right.
since IPL also closed down, so so this is how understand what to put out when. So that's a
Mm,
call
mm,
which kind of I have to take in terms of strategy, that this is what we have to put out, and maybe this is not the right time to launch a product or to launch a collection. So all of that is there. Other than that, if you are also working
right,
on a business unit like motorsport, which sells it primarily sells really well, So there you need to figure out a ton of stuff in terms of what kind of products products are there in our what are the channels that we sell on, which channel works best for us, and it's not just social media. There are channels
Right.
where sales happens in terms of e-commerce channels, in terms of retail, in terms of online. So what works for us, what doesn't, which we need to push more. So all of these decisions are scrutinized at the end of the day, especially mainly at the end of the quarter. So all of that,
Right.
so it's much more result oriented basically on the brand side.
That's a great insight. I mean, you're saying that it's much more detailed when you know, as you know that
Yeah,
what are the sales that have come through the campaigns, but at the same time the pressure is on because you know that okay, after this campaign I spent this much, but I only got one sale out of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's an
I have to
added
so you have to be
advantage.
accountable for everything you do, every
Right.
content piece, every penny you spend, everything.
Right, right. So there's more questioning involved when you're working on the brand side because I mean it's your brand and you are expected to deliver the most out of it. As compared to agency, it's a little less pressurizing because I mean I know that getting engagement is also a big task, but then
Hmm.
you're not clear on how exactly have you sold through that campaign.
In terms of as an agency, you basically, the client is putting a lot of pressure on you. That is a different kind
Right,
of pressure.
right.
So it's that pressure is primarily about timelines. It's not about
Hmm.
responsibility. This
Agreed.
is this
Agreed.
Here you have to own the brand, and so if the brand is your baby in this case.
Right.
So if you fail to deliver, it's visible to everyone.
Right, absolutely. So that was a great insight right there. And now let's jump on to some of the ad campaigns, which we'll see and try to get the maximum learnings out of them to see that what are the elements in that, how was it planned, and what are the learnings that we can use in the future through that. So I'll just share my screen. Let me know once you see it. Uh, are you guys able to
Yeah,
see
we
the
can.
screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So first is the Mountain Dew campaign that is Dar Ke Aage Jeet Hai, and it was launched on Instagram. I mean the first Reels campaign, if I'm right, Bhavay, that was launched by Mountain Dew.
Yep.
So
So it was the first branded Reels campaign in India when Reels came
right,
about in August 2020.
yes. So let's have a look at it and try to see that what insights can we get out of it. Here it goes.
The audio is not there.
Audio is not there. Just a second. Now is it there? Now is it proper?
You can play it once. No.
Were you all able to see it? It was proper.
Yeah, we could see it. Audio was not there.
Okay, damn. Okay. So, based on what we saw, I mean, let's ignore the audio, but we got to know that it was a Sukhwinder Singh singing the, Desh Hai Veer Jawano Ka and Dar Ke Aage Jeet Hai. So, I
Yeah.
mean, Bhavay, what do you think went right in this ad campaign? That got in such engagement. What were the emotions that got triggered? And I mean, what would have been the mindset before coming up with this marketing communication?
So ideally, we kind of suggested Pepsi that so Mountain Dew has always had this "Dar ke aage jeet hai" tagline since forever, and
Right,
we kind of took this song, and it's an old classic, and got Sukhwinder Singh to sing it.
right,
Ye Desh Hai Veer Jawane Ka. So it was basically a remake of that song, and so they had plans to spend on YouTube for it, and launch it there as an asset and promote it. So I along with my team at Group M, so we kind of got along with Instagram and had some discussions with them that this is Reels is something new that you have come up with, so and you are pushing it a lot, and that at that time it was
right.
just 15-second Reels, and
Okay,
so we took a whole deck from them in terms of what Reels is, how it works, presented it to the Mountain Dew team, and made them understand
right,
how it works. And what we figured was, if you click on that, if you put a reel 15-second cut of this song from YouTube
right.
on Mountain Dew Instagram, and you click on the audio on that, uh, you can basically use that audio to make a reel of your own. So
Hmm.
when you click on that audio, it'll open a window just like TikTok, with all the videos made with that audio.
Right,
So
right.
basically, it's similar to TikTok. So it was similar to TikTok, exactly. So that's what we figured. And TikTok was banned recently, so a lot of TikTokers, like Jannat Zubair and uh, a lot of others, Samiksha, Manjul, all of them were had just switched to Instagram, but still had very good following here. Um,
Right.
so we kind of picked 10 of them, and 10 smaller dance influencers, just to make it look a little organic, because we
Right.
did not have a lot of budget in this, because it was basically an experiment, to be honest. So
Hmm.
no one had done a branded reels campaign full fledged. It was just brands had just put out one or two videos to just try it out. So
Right.
clicking on that particular, so we instructed the influencers that these are dance steps you have to do. This is the 15-second clip that you have to use. Just click on that. There's no other way to make the reel. The only way they had to make the reel was click on that audio and make the reel, so that all the 20 reels comes in one page,
Hmm.
just like TikTok. So that was the idea behind it. So this got us I think 400 plus UGC videos, uh,
Right.
which people just made, and people did it right. They just clicked on the audio and made the reel. So
Right.
that that went pretty well. Jannat Zubair's video got about 13 million views individually,
Hmm.
and overall we got more than, I think, 25 million. And the ROI in terms of budget, I can't tell you the budget, but it was nothing in terms of what Pepsi spends. Um, so this campaign basically was started as an experiment, and it got us 400 plus UGC videos. That was crazy. So more than the views,
Right.
it's just people coming in and making their own videos. That was surprising, but it went pretty well.
Right, right. That's amazing. And I mean, we could also feel the goosebumps. I mean, I know the audio is not there, but when we hear the audio, there are goosebumps. There's that feeling of pride that would have made me make a video as well. So that's the power of marketing communication if done the right way uh, in that video.
Exactly. So we kind of also pushed this through a lot of, this song through a lot of meme pages, a lot of other ways, smaller influencers, micro influencers. So this
Right,
we are pushing this hashtag Jeetenge Fir Se, right, left, and center on Instagram, and
right.
that kind of did.
So, do you believe that micro influencers, having 10 micro influencers, is better than having one macro influencer? What is your thought pattern there?
No, so a mix. We always used to take a mixture of them. Uh,
Okay.
without those 10 TikTokers, big TikTokers, there was no campaign.
mm,
The micro influencers, only what they do is they play a role to make it look a little organic, which
right,
we also did for a lot of other campaigns for Pepsi before also, uh,
right,
where we took about 100 micro influencers, 50 micro influencers to just get the hashtag going.
right,
And other
right.
than them, there will always be a set of core influencers that give us the reach and engagement.
Right, absolutely. So this was about the ad campaign that we saw. Now coming to the B2B part. So I'll just share my screen and show you one post by HubSpot. So basically, what they have done is they have used memes to their advantage, and that is something very intriguing to talk about. If you see my screen, this is the meme that they have shared on the profile. I mean, HubSpot is also B2C, but their major ROI comes to B2B. So I'd call it B2B oriented company, and it's saying that how it started, how it's going. So it's just one example of how they are using that entertainment factor, that meme factor that is coming into trend to their advantage, despite of the fact that I mean there's I would say stereotype that B2B communication needs to be serious all the time, formal all the time. So Jerry, what are your thoughts there? How is memes being fitting the part in the B2B sector?
So, I mean, honestly speaking, B2B communication, be it on social, be it on email channels, or be it to any external stakeholder, it's still
Right,
serious. Uh, None of the managers or none of the brands are using memes or gifs as of now. But
right,
when it comes to internal communication, let's say, for example, if it's within the team or if
right,
it's within an internal cross-functional team, then
right,
I have started seeing memes or gifs being promoted in on emails. But when
right.
it comes to pure external communications, if I talk about just B2B, if
Hmm.
I see a lot of companies that started in the recent years, like when the tech booms happened
Right,
in probably 2000s or 2010s, or even
right.
2015 and onwards, if there is a
Yes.
company that started in those years, it can be a startup right now, or it can be a mid-size organization. They
Right,
are much more open towards experimenting with memes, gifts. But when it comes to traditional B2B organizations or consulting organizations or
right,
law firms or anything like that, I have honestly, I have not seen. But they might be using it, but personally, I have not seen it, and nor have I seen it in their strategy because they still feel that at the end of the day, they are reaching out to a chief marketing officer who's
right,
probably in the age bracket of 45 to 60, and
right.
he might not be in that state where he would appreciate a gift for a meme.
Hmm.
So when probably a Gen Z would become a chief marketing officer, then the whole
Right,
strategy might change. Probably in the next 5 years, you can see a lot of, I mean, B2B players also jumping into GIFs, memes, or even branded memes, popular
right,
memes like that. But as of now or as of today, uh, everyone loves memes and GIFs as long as it's on their personal profile. But when
right,
it comes to a professional communication platform, I have just seen case studies being promoted,
right.
topics about their products, topics about their services, and
Hmm.
a very professional kind of communication, which we all have studied in college, like how a
Right,
communication needs to happen. So
right,
that is still being followed, and I'm not saying that I'm against that practice. That's a great practice because that practice is still being resonated with the target audience. It's
Hmm.
not like the
Hmm.
target audience is rejecting that kind of communication or that kind of format.
Right,
They still respond to it. Uh, they still communicate through I mean, those memes. But when it
right.
comes to GIFs, majority of people in that age bracket that I said
Hmm.
still do not prefer or still are not that open. Probably
Right,
once it becomes an industry norm, or once it becomes a popular best practice, then
right,
we can say that okay, it's okay to use gifs or memes in a communication platform. And HubSpot, I would still say that they are they are a new company as well, and they are
right,
targeting a lot of companies, startups. They have a huge, I mean, range when it comes to their target audience. Anyone who is
right,
interested in a marketing service, HubSpot is the one to go to. So a meme like that which you had actually shared, it would
Mm.
resonate with a lot of people. And
Right.
though, I mean, I'm not sure whether it will create a immediate sale or not. But what it
Mm.
would definitely do is it would create a brand recall. It would create
Mm.
that brand conversation. Hey, I
Right.
saw that HubSpot tweet or that HubSpot Instagram post. Did you see that? So a lot of people
Right.
will get to know about that. So brand awareness would improve. Then in a future point of time, like let's say for example, that ad must have been 3 to 5 months back, but today we are
Yes.
speaking about it. So a brand recall
Right.
will happen for them. So
Right.
that's a great point for a young company, or an upcoming booming company that's there. But
Right.
traditional companies, I still feel that they love the traditional approach because they are getting the results through their traditional approaches.
Right, right. And do you think that companies that, I mean, like HubSpot, who have a B2C touch as well, I mean, they are not entirely B2B. So do you think for them, companies like those, memes and GIFs are a good strategy? I mean, to appeal to the B2C in terms of getting sales and B2B in terms of generating that brand recall. What is your perspective there?
Yes, because if you have a mix of group B2C
Right,
companies and B2B companies, then
right,
it's always preferred to have a mixed approach. You
right.
cannot have a one-sided approach because then you would completely miss out on the other target group that you have. So
Mm,
a balance of 50-50 or a 70-30 or a 30-70 kind of approach, what your business goals are for the year, it would completely depend on that. So a simple example is like if HubSpot CEO comes and says, hey, I need 7 B2B companies and 3 B2C companies in this month. So their
right,
strategy will completely change. That would be 70% formal communication and 30% informal. So it
right,
all depends on the goals for the year or the objectives or the targets for the year. If you're targeting more of B2C, then you would see much more B2C content. But if you're targeting
mm,
more to B2B companies, then you would be seeing more formal type of communication that's happening.
right. That's great. That's great.
Also,
So,
if you also
yeah,
if you are a company who's kind of an educator in the marketing space, which HubSpot is. I have done a lot of
right.
courses from there. Jerry has done it. You also must have done it.
Yes,
So
yes.
if you are an educator kind of a company, like HubSpot or even SEM Rush has courses. So if you're that kind of a company, and so you can add, you can kind of add, and you have been advocating, experimenting with content, doing experiments, doing all of that, then experimenting with memes is another another thing, just for your followers, and they would understand that. Also,
Right.
a lot of companies, as Jerry said, traditional ones are not doing it. Mostly, what who in B2B, who I have seen doing a lot of interesting marketing is companies who have a product which is focused on exactly what Jerry said. People of the age group less than 45. For example,
Mm,
Slack. Slack is a
right.
company which focuses on the whole workforce,
Mm,
which includes all age group of people. So it's not just CEOs and decision makers.
right.
Slack does a lot of interesting video marketing. There was another Adobe is another company who does a lot of funny videos in terms of
Yes.
their marketing. Third one is I forgot the name, but it was a very interesting video where it was basically a product. It was a design product, something like Canva, and
Okay.
in that advertisement, basically that the person who was explaining the product was being asked by was playing 10 different characters and was being asked by the decision maker that now explain it to me how if you were my grandma, now explain it to me if you are Darth Vader. So
Right.
that's basically when you have a particular product, a set of products, then it is easier to to experiment with your marketing.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So I also agree with this that traditional companies would not be ready to experiment with it because they have a user base that's above, I would say, 45 for them, most of it. So I mean the age group, as you both pointed out, is one of the most important factors in the experimentation factor as to what you experiment out with in terms of your marketing communication. So that is great. Now I will share one more. You know, it's a social media post by Puma, and it's a very interesting post as you can see on my screen. So yeah, it gets close like this, and it's very appealing, to be very honest. And this has been designed by the brain behind this is Bhavay itself. So would love to know from you, Bhavay, what was the mindset to come up with this idea?
So I was not the brains behind designing this, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it was basically the content team, so I would not gauge on their, they're doing. But yeah, so but basically, we kind of what we are seeing is that body wear is not something you can really market, extensively in India, because people normally do not prefer looking at men in their body, in the body, in body wear, those kind of images on social media. And that's even men or women.
Hmm.
So that's something which is still a taboo for a lot of people. This was something which kind of
Right.
was funny, interesting, and not, focusing on the product. So we tried to do a few image, shoppable posts where you tag the body wear, but it did not work in terms of really well.
Right.
So this is something which was just an experiment. We thought we could do this, and it was again inspired from some two three different posts. So this was the brilliant brains of our content team at Puma. So, but yeah, so this is something. One is reels. Real content always works well.
Right.
Uh, it is witty. If it is, it is
Yes.
out of the box, right? You can't post normal video content on reels. It will never work.
Hmm.
And trust me, I have tried on my personal accounts as well as on
Right.
the accounts I've managed in the past. This was primarily
Right.
for brand and awareness focus, and yeah, so that, and
Okay.
the caption obviously, kept that witty angle to it, that let's keep it brief.
Right.
So you
Right.
mentioned the product, you've played the witty part, you've done everything without looking salesy. So yeah.
Right. So you're saying, I mean, one very important inference is basically you're saying this was intended for brand awareness. And I mean, that is one of the most important elements of marketing communications that is not always intended for sales. Brand awareness is also that important factor that helps in pushing people down the funnel, maybe not in short term, but in long term. You might get sales out of
Yeah,
it. So
if someone will
that
see
is
this,
the
they'll just know that Puma sells body wear as well.
right,
Before
right.
maybe before joining Puma 3 months back, I had no idea Puma sold body wear. So
Hmm.
if I look at this, I'll just know it. It'll be just there in my mind. So yeah,
Right.
brand recall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So now coming to yet another B2B example, and this is going to be a LinkedIn feed of a B2B company. The audio is not playing this some issue, but we'll try to cover some. There was one carousel that was very interesting. This one. So what they have done is basically they've shown a chat, an ideal customer query, uh, and through that they have tried to lead a conversation into a way that they have described their product of service offerings in the form of a carousel, and they have included a ct at the end, which is very very clear. So Jerry, question to you that we have seen that in B2B, statistics, telling a story in a professional manner, having the right CTA. I mean, we could see through this carousel that all these were there. So, what are the most important elements that you consider for B2B marketing communication to be there, especially on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so actually, when it comes to LinkedIn, what's happening these days is carousel ads. For example, the one that you had just shared,
Yeah,
it's actually a PDF with multiple pages that's there,
right.
and LinkedIn changes that format into a carousel for organic, and it helps in improving the reach now. So LinkedIn is
Yes,
pushing this type of content as well. That's why you can see a lot of even personal content creators who manage their own personal profiles use a lot of
right,
carousel posts. But
right.
also when it comes to paid advertising, what I've seen on LinkedIn is carousel ads get much better results compared to a normal static image or a static video or any other ad formats that are available on LinkedIn as of now. Carousel
Right.
ads are getting much better CTRs, are getting much better engagement rates. I think one of the main reason for that is uh, in a typical ad copy that's there, you can have maximum 500 characters, 600 characters to tell the
Right.
entire story, and
Mm.
the space for an image. Now, if
Yes.
you add too many text to an image, it drops the quality. The maximum
Okay.
allowed words or something is between 5 to 10 words.
Mm.
Ideally, if you're sharing some images, and you cannot give out a full story in just 5 to 10 words. So,
Mm.
let's say, for example, if it's a B2B organization,
Mm.
any organization which is into service-based products, service-based initiatives and all, what they do is they create a lot of case studies. The marketing team creates a lot of case studies, and that case studies are
Right.
either 8 pages or 10 pages long, and
Mm.
it's very difficult to create a one ad copy for that case study in just like a static ad. So what
Right.
actually helps is a carousel ad, wherein in first slide you give, I worked with XYZ company. Second slide,
Mm.
XYZ company had a problem. Third
Right.
slide, solution. Fourth slide, experiments. Fifth slide. So as and when you give out more details,
Mm.
you intrigue that customer more, or you intrigue that user more to understand and learn more. So I think that
Right.
is where the users are getting value, and plus even the company who is sharing out, without sharing too much information or without asking them to download a PDF or go through an 8 page case study, they are also
Right.
able to give out value as well. So I think this has become that game changer for uh, advertising or marketing in on social media platforms. Wherein if you
Right.
give me a carousel ad, I would be happy to read it because I might not have time to read 8 pages, but I have enough
Yes.
time to go through 8 slides
Right.
because so there is one what do you say, one keyword or one word which we keep using in our teams, wherein you need to everyone is scrolling on their phones. The
Mm.
moment you create a creative or anything which stops that scroll, the thumb scrolling is stopped, that's when you have created an impact. So
Right.
carousel ad is something that makes you stop that scroll and go through it, because you have to swipe left and right, and it makes you read that post. Typically what happens here is, honestly speaking, all of us go through LinkedIn post, all of us go to Twitter feed, and we just like. Sometimes
Yes.
without reading also we do that,
Yes.
and that's okay and that's normal because that's how a lot of people are doing it. But
Right.
you create value when you make someone stop, either make them read the post or make them work for that extra information. So that's when you
Right.
create that value. And carousel ads like the one that you just shared, these are the
Right.
ones that are doing great, be it for B2B or B2C. But B2B has definitely seen a lot of benefits because you are able to share case studies, heavy content loaded stuff with
Mm.
less information, and it's adding value to its customers. So this has been of tremendous value for B2B companies for sure.
Right, absolutely. So, I mean, carousel has been the midway, I would say, midway solution between a static image and a PDF or a case study that's there on the website. And I mean, the view rate and obviously a download rate would be much lesser as compared to the swipe rate on carousel. So that has been a major advantage for all the B2B companies. And I am also seeing a lot of carousel posts by B2B companies on especially LinkedIn. So that has been a boom right there, and that is one learning that we can get, that carousel posts work. I mean, as a content creator as well, carousel posts are the best performing posts for me. So I mean, both B2C, B2B doesn't matter, but if you're able to structure it the right way, if you're able to tell a story through that, it works out the best. Completely agreed with that. Now, I have a very important question for Bhavay that, when we talk about marketing communication, especially in B2C, there's this role of emotions that comes into play. I mean, how do you decide that, okay, I want to trigger the emotion of, let's say, shock, or maybe an emotion of pride? So what is the mindset there?
Hmm. So, so primarily it's reactive content is all around emotions. Whenever you create any kind of reactive content across social, it just
Right.
triggers into that because that content is not selling you anything. That content is not for any kind of brand awareness. It's just reacting to what's happened. If your team has
Right.
won, if there is a match, big match which is coming up and people are excited about it, um,
Mm.
and or if there is anything, for example, this COVID crisis hit, then what, people are scared and all of that, and then maybe you should just refrain from posting a lot. So all of that, especially on platforms like Twitter, you need to gauge that sentiment. So that's sentiment analysis and all of that is one thing which is there, and we all know, we all have
Right.
platforms for it, be it Sprinkler or be it Social Insider or whatnot. There are tons of softwares now, but I don't think softwares really are able to gauge the
Right.
emotions that individually we can. So normally, whenever I make a report for
Mm.
any used earlier for a client, now for Puma, um, my reports normally have a lot
Right.
of manual work in terms of what kind of comments are coming on what kind of content across brands, be it our brand, be it competitor brands, understanding what, how do people react to different kinds of content. For example, I just gave you the example of body wear,
Right.
or anything which kind of could be taboo. We need to avoid that. So we need to understand what
Right.
our audience would react to. If we are late to reacting to something, that also is a problem. So whenever in doubt, don't post. So that's the funda I always use, that even if even if a small doubt, if you have that people won't react to it well, do not post it.
Right.
Either postpone it and think on it, or just cancel it. This is
Right.
one thing. If you are, especially if you're working for bigger brands, brand safety is definitely there. So in terms of
Mm.
emotions, yes. So one is comments. Figure out how people are reacting to it. Uh, Second is what kind of brands people are following more. In terms
Right.
of, for example, Zomato, Netflix, Durex. If people are loving them, what is the reason? Why
Right.
are they doing
Right.
that? Then third is, if, for example, if I've posted something, so am I just getting the views from it, or people are actually paying heed to what I'm saying, my CTA? So am I just an entertainment channel for them, or they
Mm.
actually are the advocates of the brand? And fourth is, if are they actual advocates? So are they posting about us? Are they talking about us? Right? That you can get from mentions,
Right.
obviously. And then how you can add to emotional value they associate with the brand is by talking to them. So
Right.
if a PepsiCo, if a Volvo, or someone like Horlicks or Puma, a big brand, likes their post, uh,
Right.
I've seen people putting up a story that, wow, Pepsi has just liked my post.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a big thing for them if a big brand likes their post even. So if you so from time to time, you need to keep talking to them. Gary Vee also advocates it for either personal or professional accounts, that take time out about at least 30 minutes to have a conversation with your audience. So if you are a
Yes.
really big brand, you need to be very careful. Need not overdo it, but
Right.
not doing is not an option.
Right. Right. And those interactions will give you, clear idea as to what people actually expect out of your brand and what are they liking
And
about
I've
your
seen,
brand. And that,
yeah, and also I've seen people pin the comment of the brand
mm,
on their post. So that's
right.
another level of reach that you're getting.
Right, absolutely. And also, I mean, as you said that whenever you feel that you are doubtful that how will it be taken by the
Hmm.
audience, or maybe it might hurt the sentiments, and especially when you're working for such a big brand, then I mean, you're saying it's a good idea to not to post, not to take that risk when it comes to brand safety and it comes to sentiments of people.
Yeah.
Because there have been campaigns where we have seen that it has gone wrong for the brand, uh, and the brand has to apologize and come out. And so, to avoid all of
Hmm.
that, that's a great insight that to avoid it completely. So
Yeah.
that was a great insight, great answer. And now, coming to the last question of the session and the most important question, it's an open question. I mean, it's addressed to both of you, starting with you, Jerry. Uh, where do you see marketing communication going when we are seeing the trend of audio, when we are seeing the trend of AI? Lot of new features coming in, lot of new platforms coming in. So where do you see it going in the next 5 or 10 years? Let's say.
So, honestly speaking, this pandemic has created a lot of opportunities, and it has made
Right,
the life of product managers way too tough because there
right.
have been a lot of requests of a lot of new features coming out.
Hmm.
But honestly speaking, now let's talk about the audio feature as well. So, when
Right.
Clubhouse came, it was a big boom. Everyone wanted to get on it.
Yes.
I think one of the main reason why it became even more popular was because it was invite only and iOS only. That was one
Right.
reason where it created that exclusivity and everyone wanted to get on that. And as soon as Clubhouse
Yes.
became popular, all the other brands started working on audio platforms or audio features for their own network.
Right.
So let's say, for example, now Clubhouse has launched Android, but
Hmm.
the craze which was there 6 months back is
Right.
probably not the same which is there now. So
Agreed.
I am quite frequent when it comes to Clubhouse. So when I
Hmm.
was there on 6 months back, I had rooms wherein
Right.
it was filled by 50 people, 80 people, 100 people. Now the
Right.
same rooms with the same number of club members that are there, it hardly is like 30, 40, or and out
Hmm.
of those 30, 40, 15 to 20 are new ones. Like it's their
Right.
first week on the platform. So
Right.
the retention of those platforms is probably on the lower end right now. So
Hmm.
like if you ask me to bet on anything for the next 4 to 5 years, I would not place my bets on anything as of now because there are a lot of things that are on the rise right now. But once we go back to normal, because I think in 5 years we would be back to office, hopefully,
Right.
a lot of things will change because right now we are finding that extra time. We are saving in the travel time. We are saving up on a lot of group talks or group meetings or one-on-one
Right.
chats, which actually happens in the office. That's not
Right.
happening right now. That's why we want our minds to get engaged with Clubhouse, with Dispo. That's a new thing that had come out. Then we want to spend more time on Instagram Reels and or Twitter Spaces, Twitter. But I think once everything, the schedule of a normal working individual changes, all of things will go down because you would be involved in traveling, you would be involved more into outside world, wherein you would want to spend time with friends rather than be in front of screen. You would want, I mean, you would have a specific dedicated time. Right now, you might be
Right.
working 12 hours, you might be working 14 hours because you're at home and there's no other
Right.
option. But once this changes, a lot of variables as well changes. So
Hmm.
I would still say that platforms like traditional platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, I can call them traditional now because they've been in the space for 10 years
Right.
and they have seen a steady growth. The number
Yes.
of users are increasing, the number of content creators are increasing, and the new generation that's coming up, though they might not be that active on certain platforms, but still they are there on that platform, they are creating on that platform. So
Right.
I would still say that for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, uh, these platforms would still be very important social platforms because the people who are using it, Gen Zs, for example, in the next
Right.
5 years, they will be in a stage wherein they would be an influencer, not a decision maker, but at least an influencer within an
Hmm.
organization. So if you
Right.
are an influencer, these kind of platforms would come out with features which would help marketing at that stage. And
Right.
I mean, me personally looking at LinkedIn results from past 2 to 3 years, I have not seen a drop in the number of users. I have seen only increase. So till the
Yes.
time it reaches saturity or that level of saturation, it is going to take time and it will see increase in the number of users or followers. But audio will definitely be on the rise because there will be a certain section of people who would love audio, but
Right.
it won't be like everyone would be into that platform. Like for example, it's simple. There are people who love to get on a Zoom call with video on, but then there
Yes.
are people who hate it. They don't want video
Yes.
on at all. They will have just audio on. So
right,
you always have those two kind of people that's there. But what I personally feel about audio, I might be wrong as well here. What I personally feel about audio is it might not be that big boom that we were hoping for.
mm,
It's still the main game, or the majority percentage of share would still be with the traditional text, audio, video, because that
right,
is something that can be consumed anytime, anywhere at our convenience.
right,
Uh, Currently, the audio platforms that is there, it's live. Let's say if I
mm,
have a meeting, I won't be able to attend that session. So again, until and unless they involve a feature of you can view this video later or you can view this audio later, then
right,
it becomes a different game.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, in such a uncertain situation where people themselves are not sure about their expectations as to what do they expect out of marketing, social media. So it's very difficult to come up with a prediction. But however, what we can see is as you said, the user base is growing on each and every platform, almost like on each and every platform, and people are coming online. So I mean, experimentation would definitely increase with a higher user base online. I mean, I see a lot of brands also coming into the field of experimenting with new users now as their target market, who were earlier offline but now are in their online, target. So that is there. And Bhave, any thoughts on this particular question from your side? What is your perspective there?
So I agree with Jerry. Audio is not going to be as big as video. It's
Right,
it's definitely not going to be that big because uh, audio is primarily just liked by a few people. Video is
mm,
something that we all of us consume, even if we don't, like to switch on. Or people like me who don't like to switch on their cams on calls. Still, I mean, still, people like me still consume a lot of video content.
right,
I have tried my hand at consuming podcasts and all of that. It's good and all. It's good, but it's not a habit that I have got into easily. So changing
right,
human behavior is a thing which is very difficult. Second is
right,
uh, that all of these traditional platforms that Jerry said are going to be there because they are constantly evolving, constantly getting new features. Instagram hasn't stayed the same since the past few years. Every year, every 6 months, there is a new feature. Remix
right,
is one which has just come up and people have started using it, and it's a
mm,
brilliant feature. Uh,
right,
and however cringe it may be, it's interesting as well because people are collaborating in terms of to make music videos, to make dance videos, to do a lot of stuff. For example, if earlier people were going live on Instagram and Instagram live game, now they
mm,
can just make a video and ask the other person to make a remix out of it.
right,
So that's changed the game. So all of this is there. Then NFTs is another thing that's coming up. Uh,
right,
you might People might start paying NFTs for a lot of intellectual property. For example, if I put up 10 different music covers on Instagram and
right,
or on my site and gate it with 5 NFT tokens per video. So that
right,
kind of stuff might be big, but I'm not really sure because we are still in the third world. So reaching here, it
right,
might take about another 10 years. It might come in another 1 or 2 years. You don't know. Also, the brand
mm,
budgets will shift to offline, and a lot of budgets will shift to offline. Trust me, because uh, uh, the retail stores need their set of sales, and whatever the retail advertising need their set of budgets once this is over, and
mm,
once things get better, I think uh, that is going to be there. So if the when
right,
the budgets go out from the digital side of it, um, definitely I think, and yes, people will be busy. People will be much busier offline because we would be if when this gets better, people would go crazy going on trips, going outside, going in cafes. So
right,
offline activations will essentially double or triple, I think, for
mm,
for the next few months at least, until people
right,
get their share of outing. Um,
right,
other than that, I think it's primarily these niche platforms are always going to be there. MX Takatak and Roposo and whatnot. Clubhouse has lost its charm. I also joined from with Jerry's invite, but I've never opened it since because they got too late in introducing it to Android. Um,
Right.
so that was the mistake on their part. They were not agile enough, and they lost their a lot of audience there. But
Yes.
these I think these are going to be there primarily for B or tier 2 or 3 towns.
Hmm.
MX Takatak has a lot of viewership, but not in major cities primarily.
Okay.
So
Complete.
products like Pepsi, who are focused on tier 2, 3, uh, whereas Coke is focused on tier 1.
Right.
So Pepsi might go for Takatak or Roposo or something like that once in a
Hmm.
while, but these will be traditional ones will be the primary platform there.
Right, absolutely agreed. So you shared a unique perspective there that we are seeing a boom online, but what you said in long term, all the like majority of the budget is going to go offline, which I mean brands need to see. The brands which are not seeing, I mean brands that have just started
Yeah,
out or
not
are.
majority, but not majority, but more than normal,
I
which
mean the
normally
online
goes
budget
to
would come
offline.
down, as
Because
you are
at
saying.
least for a few months,
Hmm. Hmm.
at least for a few months, the offline budget would be more than usual that it used to be before COVID.
Right, right, absolutely. So those were some great insights right there. And this brings us to the end of the session, which was all about marketing communications. And I hope we were able to give the audience the maximum insights possible on this particular topic. I'm generally sure we were able to, but I would generally love to have feedbacks in the comment section for from people who will be seeing this session on my YouTube channel. And I thank you, Jerry. I thank you, Bhavay, for your valuable insights, valuable time that you took out from your busy schedule. And it was a pleasure talking to both of you.
It was a
Thanks,
pleasure
Bhavel.
as well talking to both of you guys. So it was a good, really
Thanks.
insightful communication. Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks
absolutely.
for your time,
Absolutely.
guys. And yeah, I enjoyed these conversations as well. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Hope to
guys.
have more of these. Thank you. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
You too.